Hello and welcome to this episode of Roar Time. Right here with head coach, director of operations, the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Gibson. I'm just that mere whisper in the wind right there in the jungle. Dr. Love. Coach, stuff just got real, man.
Yeah. I figured I'd make it interesting for the league. I didn't want to run away with it. I didn't want to run away with it early. So
Exactly.
I thought, how about if we take the L for the league?
Yeah.
No, that's just
Well, Lion Nation and fans all around the NAL, because we know you're watching. This episode of Roar Time is brought to you in part by those wonderful people at Aflac, Domino's, CTV Beam, and Rivertown GMC. Coach, as I was just stating in our opening, our opportunity of being on the road obviously did not turn our way. We did trains, planes, and automobiles, as we call it, and went to visit the Maine Mammoths. And
never been to Portland.
Never been to Portland. How did you like the trip?
Flying up there is sure as easier than taking a bus. Sorry about you other guys, but it was planes, trains, and automobiles, and like I told the players, anytime how I told them how important the game was, because I don't want to make that trip again. If we have to go to Mass or somewhere like that, but it was a good trip. We flew into Boston, we took a shuttle up to Portland.
Beantown.
The weather was fantastic.
That's awesome.
But I love hot weather, so anyway. But the weather was perfect. It was what I'd seen in a movie. It was seagulls downtown flying and big boats and lobster and lobster rolls and all the stuff that you see. So plus it was July, so it was kind of a tourist time to be in Portland, Maine. So it was a beautiful city. I'd recommend it to anybody.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, let's I guess events leading up to the game, we kind of got shorthanded there, almost.
Well, there was a lot of stuff leading up to the game that nobody knows about, but it was a rough week. We were really decimated with injuries. This no bye weeks, 6-7 games in a row now is really starting to catch up with us, and all these road trips are catching. Because we play the extra road trip per the league. Yeah. And winning on the road's hard enough as it is. We're on the road. Maine's playing hot at home. Mm-hmm. They just beat Carolina. They'd taken Mass to overtime. They taken Jacksonville to the limit. They're playing hot. Right before we leave that morning, Tyler Stevenson had a family emergency. He says, "Coach, I can't go.
Wow.
I got to go back home." And I'm already down a man. Yeah. Purefoy didn't go. So that kind of put us in a little bit of a tailspin when you lose the top yards receiver in the league.
Exactly.
So then we get to the game, and we're sitting there in pregame warm-ups, and Nate Isles, who's by far the best left tackle in the NAL, he sprains his ankle playing catch football with Deion Smalls, or one of the guys, and I turn around, his ankle's this big, he can't walk.
My goodness.
And I'm like, can this get any worse than what's going on right now?
Yeah.
And it just steamrolled. And what happened was a lot of these things kind of get in the way of what your goals are. Exactly. We didn't practice all week on offense. That's how the game started. And then the very first drive of the game, we go 3 and out, kick field goal and miss it, and they get the ball. And I knew we were in for a long night.
Yeah. Well.
Yep.
Well, Coach, it's, unfortunately the coin did not land in our favor, but let's go ahead and get into a recap of the game as it would be. We talked about just coming in the door, the offensive struggles that we had.
Sure. It's just Dalen Button came in and you take a D lineman and put him in offensive line, so he's blocking. We just weren't clicking. We hadn't. Lesson learned for anybody. If you want to be good at something, you have to do it. Yeah. You have to practice it. And we hadn't practiced offense all week, even during the practice week, because we had so many guys hurt, we couldn't even practice at practice.
Wow.
And we'd gone through a stretch to where, you beat Mass, Carolina, Jacksonville back to back to back.
Yeah.
You're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Real good, yeah.
And you're not as hungry as you think you are.
Yeah.
And then just offensively, first half, I think we scored 14 points in the first half.
Yeah.
That is pathetic.
That's totally unlike Lion Nation.
Yeah, we got the number one offense in the league in yardage and points, and I don't count Carolinas. They beat Lehigh twice and scored 77 points. Them games don't count. You get to play them 4 times. We play them twice.
There you go.
But just being honest. But it was such a struggle in the first half to just get going for us. You know, we had protection issues. We had so many guys beat up. We just couldn't get it going.
Yeah.
You know, and it was tough. It was tough. I think we went into the half 14-14, and I knew our defense was playing well, but I knew at 14-14 that we had let somebody stay in the game. And when you give somebody hope, hope's a hard opponent to beat.
That's right. That's right. Confidence builder starts to come into their favor, and
we struggled, and so we go into the end of the first half 14-14, and I knew we were in for a fight.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
Well, a real somber moment here, but let's continue this same escapade, if you will, going into the second half, Coach.
So we go into the second half, you think, okay, we're gonna, kind of right this ship, and then they come out and we stop them. Defense was playing great. We put our hands all over number 2, and just physically, I thought our defense, our D-line whooped their O-line all night long. But we come out first drive of the second half, 3 and out. So we open up the first half and the second half without a score. I don't care what game you're in. If you do that, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose football games.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And I thought, God, here we go again. But it started to click about the third quarter. We just said, you know what? We're just going to drop back, throw it deep to our best receiver and cover them. And they couldn't. And some of that's on me. Probably should have done that from game one. I mean, from plan one. But you always look back and go, I could have, should have, would have.
Yeah.
But the defense played great. The backbreaker in the game, to me, was twice. I mean, they had. If you look at the stats, if you look at the time of possession, and I know I have it on here, their time of possession was insane. I mean, they had the ball for 36 minutes. We had it for 23.
Wow.
They had 52 plays. We only had 38. So they had the ball an entire quarter more than we did.
Statistically, yes.
Statistically. And what hurt about that was every time we'd get a stop, there'd be a penalty on third down or a penalty on fourth down. And those drives were 10-play drives, 9-play drives. Our drives were 3 and without, or 3 and touchdowns, and it just kind of caught up with us. But defensively, what hurt was we stopped them on fourth down with an interception in the end zone, and they flagged us for pass interference, and that changed the game.
Yeah.
Now the difference is we lost the game. It's part of the game. Was it pass interference? I don't know, but it happened, and they called it.
Yeah.
And we lost games when we didn't play well on offense. I'll tell you what I didn't do. I didn't whine and moan all over social media that the officials lost the game, because that's not what winners do. That's what losers do.
That's right. Say that again, Coach. That's what losers do.
But I'm just saying, it's I had people call me and, the officials did this. The officials didn't do anything. The officials didn't cost you the game. And people that whine about officiating and get on there and talk about this pass interference, that, grow up.
Yeah.
Get over it.
That's right.
Game should have been that close anyway.
There you go.
Realistically. So, but in with all that happening, the defense still kept us in the game going into that final minute for a chance to win it.
Yeah. Well, this was obviously a huge momentum shifter for Maine. I mean, they came into that game, 4 or 3 and 8?
3 and 8.
And this obviously, we went into that game 7 and 4.
7 and 3.
7 and 3, rather.
8 and 3.
8 and 3. I'm sorry. 8 and 3. And so a huge momentum shift in the area in terms of confidence builder.
Well, the Eagles lost the game last year too. See how that turned out.
There you go. And Super Bowl. Hey, come on. Yeah. And it's all. We're saying all this to say, Lion Nation, that it is not over until the fat lady sings. We hadn't had any fat ladies singing in the Star Spangled Banner in the stadium in the jungle, as far as I'm concerned. But it's another opportunity for us to make some corrections as we go into things. But going back into that, you made some comments about the fact that our defensive performance was holding Maine to 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't count the 2. The 2 interceptions. We intercepted them 3 times. We know Bain's a good quarterback. I like Jonathan. He's a really good quarterback, but he's also a turnover machine.
Okay.
And he did turn it over. 2 of them got called back, but that's just the way the game goes. But defense really kept us in the game, even going to that final minute. They just started putting the clamps down on them, and held Maine to a field goal attempt, in the final minute of the game. They missed it. We get the ball back with 15. We had 15 seconds. The ball's on the 5-yard line. And I'm thinking, how far do we got to get just to get an attempt at a field goal? I knew Tyler would make that field goal.
Yeah.
And we did. One timeout left, so we decided, hey, let's just get the ball to at least the 15 or the 20, try to get the ball out to give us a chance to kick it. You don't want to kick too far back in your end zone because you have to lower the trajectory of the kick.
Correct.
And if you lower the kick, you have a chance for it to get blocked.
Yeah.
And then they can win on a cheap block, and I didn't want to do that. So we walked it up the field, lined them up for a kick, but the problem was at that arena, the ceiling's low, extremely low. The ceiling is so low, the scoreboard is not even in the middle of the field. The scoreboard is in the corner behind the end zone because if the scoreboard was out in the middle of the field, you can't even throw a pass.
Good grief.
It's an odd, it's a cool arena. I like it, but it's odd, and you can't kick.
Wow.
Field goals because you can never kick a ball that hit the ceiling. I mean, it's impossible. Anyway, he lined up for the winning kick, and I tell you what, that thing was dead on. It was dead on, and he nipped the rafters.
Wow.
Anytime it hits the ceiling, it's dead. So that put it into overtime. They got the ball first. We won the coin toss, and I decided to play defense first. It's college rules. Each team gets the ball once.
Correct.
So they got the ball, first play touchdown. I'm like, here we go. So we get the ball, first play touchdown. So we had a decision to make.
Yeah.
I mean, do we kick the ball for a tie and go to a second overtime, or
and at this point, is the deuce still? Are we still eligible for the deuce on the kickoff?
Well, there's no kickoff because they just spot the ball like college football.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we're down by one with a chance to either kick the extra point for a tie or go for 2 for the win. And it's a long road trip. The game was unbelievably long because Maine had about 18 TV timeout promotions throughout the game. It was really, I mean, I turned it into the league. I hope the league does something about it. It was ridiculous from a momentum standpoint. Yeah. I respect and understand game stoppage to promote sponsors.
Exactly.
But if I'm watching an NFL game and you stop that game every time there's a first down for a commercial and you stop it every time there's for a commercial, I'm not watching the game anymore.
That's right, yeah. I mean, you've completely...
And it was very frustrating. But when we get to the 2-point conversion, Eric, and I just want to, we're going to win this thing and go home, we're going to lose this thing and go home.
Yeah.
And I didn't want the officials, I didn't want Maine, and I didn't want the fans to have an outcome, to have input in the outcome of the game. I wanted to control the output of the game. We hadn't led the entire game.
Yeah.
We had a chance for a 2-point conversion. I'm throwing to my best football player. And it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know, I got a lot of people, oh, it was pass interference.
It is what
we lost the game. He didn't make the catch.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's just the way it goes. And you lick your wounds, you go home.
That's right.
You know, good for them, good for the league. And if you look at the games, you look at the standings, you know, which we'll talk about in a second, it's just, it is what it is. So that's wrapped up. That's here and gone. That game's over with, and it's onward and upward.
It's in that history book. So, well, Lion Nation, you heard it here first. Not the type of turnout that we had hoped for, but hey, it's not all over. This is still plenty of football left in the NAL. Hold to your seats. We'll be right back with more activity and upcoming events right here in Lion Nation with head coach Jason Gibson after these commercial messages.
Hi, I'm Charles.
And I'm Tony with Midas here in Columbus, Georgia.
Did you know that 84,000 people in the Chattahoochee Valley go hungry every day? So we partner with Feeding the Valley Food Bank here in Columbus, Georgia. Every oil change feeds up to 5 people, or you can drop off food donations at either one of our locations. Together we can drive out hunger.
Come visit us at either one of our Columbus locations. We're located at 315 13th Street or 1631 Manchester Expressway.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me and to serve my country.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Welcome back to Roar Time with head coach Jason Gibson. I'm that mere whispering wind, Eric Fowler, out here in these streets. Dr. Love in the jungle, coach. We just finished talking about, you know, the whole upset situation we had against Maine. But hey, that's one for the history books. But this is that part of the show that all of Lion Nation appreciates, the opportunity, Coach, for you to give shout-outs, kudos, and attaboys to our wonderful sponsors. Coach, take it away.
Cool, here we go. Jordan's Girls Gourmet Dogs, one of the favorite eating spots of our staff, myself included. It's our home of the Lions Big Dog, dropped by the corner of 8th Street and Veterans Parkway, Monday through Friday, 11 to 5 p.m., Saturdays 11 to 1. Sprague Supply. They're also the Sprague sponsor of the Catch of the Game. 3 locations in Columbus, Alexander Street, Phoenix City, 280 Bypass, and in Auburn on Opelika Road. Motor Acceptance Corporations. Are you trapped in a title pond? Lower your interest, lower your payments, get up to $1,000 in cash. With Motors Acceptance in Columbus, Georgia, just call 1-800-NEW-RATE. Lower your payments today. Texas Roadhouse, home of the Fall Off the Ribs. Hearty hand-cut steaks, ice-cold beer, and legendary margaritas at 2970 North Lake Parkway. Overbeat Company and Shred-Away. Shred-Away Document Shredding and Storage. Protect your business the best way. Midas of Columbus is actually the Midas Player of the Game sponsor. We do that every game. Longtime sponsors of the players. Trust the Midas touch. Air Force Reserve. They're the official sponsor of Pass the Pigskin and a popular fan participation contest at every game. Players, Restaurant, and Billiards, Locals, Bar and Grill. Each home game, fans cast their ballots at the Lions Fan Center. They either win lunch at Players on 54th Street or dinner at Locals on Somerville Road in North Phoenix City with their favorite player. Also, don't forget about Metro PCS, the quarterback challenge, minute challenge at halftime. Register at the Fan Center. You can go to any Metro PCS location here in Columbus to register for that event. And obviously, don't forget about Jay Broadwin and CTV Beam. You know, we were talking off camera about this, about the viewership of our games. That it has quadrupled.
That's huge.
The viewership of all of our games this year on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, it's staggering. The numbers are really staggering if you looked at that from a business model and said, okay, we're trying to compare, is this going in the right direction or the wrong direction? And it's doing phenomenal. So, and we got, of course, we got the next home game. Don't forget about the Domino's 50-point challenge.
That's right.
You get the free cinnamon bread twists.
Garlic twist, yeah.
And Popeyes. Every time we hit a deuce, take your tickets to the Popeyes location on Rivertown Road, and you can get a free apple pie. And they do have the best apple pies at the fast food chains by far.
Absolutely.
And we love going to Popeyes. So, and a shout out to John Gilbert at Golden Corral. Best of luck. Wish you the well. Hope that the store gets up and running again. Now, you do such a great job there, and you're such a great supporter of the Lions. We appreciate everything you do.
Coach, first of all, I'd like to thank your reading instructor back in the day for an exceptional job of you being able to just go through those sponsor reads that quickly, Coach. Good job.
Mrs. Pittman and Mrs. Elliott, Huntingtown Elementary. I appreciate you very much. Apparently they did a good job, even though I got a C in English. I hated English. But they must have done something, because I still remember your names, and that was 18 years ago.
Look at there. Hey, no. There you go. Teachers are our unsung heroes. We, just got to give shout outs to you. We appreciate all that you do. Coach, good job there. Let's talk a little bit about league standings, Coach. I mean, it has, oh my goodness. Speaking of which, I'll be in New Orleans this weekend, Coach. So I'm going to take advantage of some
etouffee.
Yes, some authentic crawfish. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. But back to Roar time here, Coach. The league standings here. Right now, Massachusetts is sitting on top with a record of 9-4.
That was the problem with losing that Mass game. We lost control. Now we got to hope Mass loses.
Yeah. And then we fall right under Columbus, 8-4. Carolina, 8-4. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, Jacksonville.
What place are they in?
They're pulling up 4th.
That sucks.
8-5. Stuff happens in the NAL. Hey, you just got to live with it.
It's funny. I told the guys we were 8-3. I said, if we don't straighten this thing around, we could turn around and be 8-7, just like that.
Just like that.
And be in 4th place.
Yeah.
But for today, at this moment, while I'm breathing,
that's right.
We're not.
We're not
in 4th either. Somebody else is in 4th place. So.
Do we need to pull back out that grill?
In time, my friend.
That's right.
In time, my young friend.
In time.
But yeah, it's jumbled up, and that is a great thing.
Yeah.
There'd be nothing worse right now this season. Let's say Carolina or us was 10-0, and you got 2 teams at 0 or 1-9.
Correct. That's right.
You've got games that matter. You've got, I'm not stealing a phrase, but you got must-see TV this weekend.
That's
You got
right.
Technically, this weekend is playoff weekend. So let's call it a spade.
Go ahead and talk about it, Coach.
It's playoff weekend because the top 4 teams are all playing each other.
So let's talk about that for a minute, Coach. So we've got coming up, obviously we are going to Jacksonville.
Right.
And then we've got Mass and Carolina.
Carolina.
Going
It's
head-to-head.
it's playoff weekend.
That's it. So, I mean, this right here sets the tone.
Yes.
Sets the tone.
Big time.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit earlier, and kind of give me your expectation of the fallout, if you will.
We have to beat Jacksonville.
Okay.
If we beat Jacksonville, that's your last home game because they're not going to be playing a home game in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think their backs are against the wall. This is a must-win for them, kind of for me.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But definitely a must-win for them. But we have to beat Jacksonville, and Carolina and Mass are playing. I think for us, we got to pull for Carolina to beat Mass because if Carolina doesn't beat Mass, Mass gets to play Lehigh again.
Oh.
Which means.
And what is Lehigh? Because again,
And they're
that's a
doing
trap
better.
game.
They're doing better. They're just
Okay.
having trouble getting players up there. But their coach is really good. He knows what he's doing. If he had a full season there, then this whole league's really jumbled up. Now we're talking some football.
Okay.
If he had been there the whole year, he knows what he's doing. But it's a lot going on. So everybody's got 4 losses except for Jacksonville, who has 5, and then this weekend plays itself out.
Oh, you said again, Jacksonville has many losses?
Yeah, they have more losses.
Oh, okay. Just
And
want
so
to make
then-
sure I heard that correctly.
So then going into next week, then Jacksonville plays Mass. So Jacksonville is us this week and Mass next weekend.
Wow. So
Mass has Carolina this weekend. We're the only team that's really gone through that gauntlet of all 4 playoff teams back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
So a lot can play out. It's the next 2 weeks in the NAL are going to be
Very
it's
interesting.
exciting. It's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching. I think the viewership's going to go up. And this is what you practice for. This is what you lift weights for. This is what you do sponsorships for. This is why you go to all these meetings for games that count, games that matter. Everybody wants to watch Georgia Auburn.
That's right.
Nobody wants to
Hands
watch
down.
Georgia Southern.
There you go. That's true, though.
I'm just saying it is. And or I love saying Georgia Kentucky. If Kentucky's 1-9 and Georgia's 9-1, hey, you need my tickets this weekend. I think I'm gonna go to the beach.
There you go.
Unless you're a diehard fan.
That's right.
When you got 2 9-1 teams or games that matter, man, you're going to be there. And it's what the NFL tries to do. NFL shoots for parity and shoots for every game that matters. So the last game of the season, you have a huge viewership, which in turn helps everybody out. And that's where we're at. You got a league where all the top 4 teams are all within 1 loss. Man, that's special.
That is special. That is special. Only here in the National Arena League can you get this level of impact and high intensity. And Coach, like she stated, it's win or go home time.
Every play counts. Every first down counts. Every practice is vital. The slightest mistake will cost you.
Yeah.
And man, that's fun.
Yeah.
That is fun.
That is fun. Well, Coach, we talked earlier. We've not taken advantage of the 50-point frenzy for a few games now.
Yeah.
And that's a little concerning. But there's hope.
Well, I mean, last game we had the ball. Everything in arena football is it's like basketball. Arena football is basketball on turf. All right? You distribute the ball, try to put it in the goal.
That's it.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And it's about possessions. And we had 11 possessions last game, and we scored on 5 of them. That is probably one of the worst offensive performances I've had in probably 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
I mean, it really was. You can't win games like that. You got to be 8 to 9 out of 11
Exactly.
to have a chance to win, not to win the game. That's how good our defense is playing right now.
Yeah.
3 games in a row, we're scoring 6 or 7 touchdowns on 11 possessions. If we are anywhere near where we should be, we're blowing teams out. But we keep letting teams hang around so we can figure out a way to try to win it on the last play of the game. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Apparently 8 times we've done it and 4 times we haven't.
That's right.
And that's a problem. And I hope we can get it fixed because what's happened in the past every year is we find our groove and we just roll through. Well, we might have found a little too earlier in the year, and all of a sudden now we're sputtering out. So I don't know. We'll get it fixed, but it's a struggle.
Well, let's talk about that, Coach, in terms of heading into what we call that report that we don't always like to talk about, but we got to talk about it. That Houston Clinic medical report. I call it our sick and shut-in list.
Yeah.
Who's on that list, Coach?
Well, you got Nate Isles. He sprained an ankle. He'll be back. He'll be able to play. It's just nagging. It's annoying. Nate's out. Tristan Purefoy is still out this week with an injury. He's still seeing Dr. Garinger and those guys over at the Houston Clinic. He's got an undisclosed injury. We'll figure out, how much longer he'll be out.
Okay.
So that hurts. Of course, we still have Greg Hall out. Ken Washington's out. Marte Sears is out. The list goes on and on. Larry Edwards was banged up a little bit. He had to get seen this week. Some guys get banged up, and Robert Caldwell's still banged up, and Quavon Hicks is banged up. Mason Espinosa's a little banged up, and you're talking about 16 starters, and you got 9 of them that have been in to see Houston Clinic.
Wow.
So that's not good. Yeah, but Dr. Garinger and those guys, they do a great job over there at the clinic, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, we wish those players well, and we thank you again, Houston Clinic, and all of those that support our players in getting back to good health, so that they can quickly return to the turf. Right. So, Coach, going into this next game, this is definitely an organization that is not a stranger to us. We were sitting on the side of the fence last year against this group, where we lost to them 3 times.
Yeah.
And including the championship game. So now we see Jacksonville once again, and we're in Jacksonville. We've already won in Jacksonville once. Can we do it again, Coach?
Well, we haven't won there yet.
We've not won it yet.
Sorry, yeah,
I'm sorry. My apologies. So both those games have.
We've never won in Jacksonville. That's the issue.
Oh, okay.
But the last 2 games we've been there, we were on the 5-yard line to win the game, and it didn't turn our way.
Correct. Championship game, which is something we don't even want to get into.
Yeah, but and then the last game, we're on the 5-yard line with a chip shot field goal, and it doesn't come our way. You look at 2 games this year, really 3 games. I think, just rolling back, the Massachusetts game where we had the ball and fumbled, Jacksonville game, we missed a field goal. In the Maine game, we missed a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. We're sitting at 10-2.
Yeah.
We're selling home playoff tickets and we're drinking margaritas. But it didn't turn out that we're going back to Jacksonville, and we haven't won there yet. We've got to break through that.
Corrected, yeah.
We've got to break through that. To be a championship team, you have to be able to beat, a good opponent on the road, and being in Jacksonville doesn't help.
Yeah.
Doesn't help.
Well, we're heading down that way. They've released QB Adrian McPherson.
Yeah, that was a crazy situation.
What's that all
about? None of my business.
Okay.
But they released him, so he's moving on. I think they're going with what they have. They're activating some old veterans, moving some players around, and they're always going to play good defense. Anytime you can play good defense, you always have a chance.
Yeah.
That's why we're always going to be in every single game. You're not going to see us get blown out by anybody.
That's right. Doesn't happen.
And Jacksonville plays good defense as well, so they do a good job down there. So they'll play McCain at quarterback, which he had a really good game against us last game.
Okay.
Statistically, yards-wise.
Yeah.
But games aren't won with yards. That doesn't matter. Yards don't matter. They never matter. The only thing that matters is points. And I thought defensively, we didn't play very well against Jacksonville last home game, and they still only scored 40 points. Mm-hmm. So you look at what the defense is doing, holding teams to 40 points, 35 points. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing right now.
Exactly.
And I think, of course, Derek Ross is always a threat, and on offense, and again, their D-line. I love playing against those guys because they get after it and they're competitive, and their D-line is what gets that team going. That's strength of their team. So it'll be tough going down there, and we're going to have to actually have a better performance on offense. Not only because we're struggling, but then you're struggling against a really good defense.
Yeah.
And we hope we can turn it around. But it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I love playing down Jack. That really good fans. Shout out to Miguel again, Skylar Lane, Patrick Roach. He came all the way up here from Jacksonville, took some pictures with my in-laws and things like that.
Okay.
So that's what the game's about. You love going down there and seeing those guys. You want to beat them really bad, but you also want to continue to build the league and grow it. And Jacksonville's as good as a place to go But I think the main thing is for us to win this game is we have to put on an offensive performance that we haven't put on all year.
Wow.
And I'm going to put a little pressure on myself and the offense to get that done. I don't want it to come down to the defense having to make a stop. I want it to come down to offense having to score.
That's right. That's right. That's what we need to show up.
So that's what we'll do. We'll play probably Tyler McDaniel this week. He had a great week of practice. He was with the Patriots. He was with the Dolphins. He's starting to get into the groove, and we're going to get after it.
Yeah.
We're going to get after it, and no matter what happens in this game, we're going to get this thing right. So when we get into the playoffs, you better watch out.
All right. You heard it right here, Lion Nation. Well, Coach, we've gotten beyond this Jacksonville thing. We're headed to see them. Jacksonville, we're coming at you hard and strong like we always do. So we're looking forward to this one. Let's get into this next home game, Coach, or the last regular season home game of the year. July 28th. It goes down in the jungle.
Big night. Maine's coming in.
Yeah.
We'll take care of that. We'll talk about that next week. But it's going to be teacher appreciation nights, free tickets for teachers with ID, back to school bash. It's a great night. We're giving away 500 backpacks filled with all kinds of goodies, school supplies. It's sponsored by Metro PCS, and they're the main sponsor. So these backpacks are super cool.
That's awesome.
And the first 500 kids through the gate will get a free backpack with a ticket.
Beat that.
No, you can't.
Beat that.
So big shout out to Metro PCS. They're always looking out for this community. The official wireless phone of the Columbus Lions.
Okay.
So, but anyway, we're giving that away. We got a Lions cruise in. So we have a car show. We have live bands sponsored by Outskirts. Jay Patel, you guys out there at Outskirts. They do a great job. They're helping put this event on, along with Cindy Dunning at Collision Surgeons. Anything's ever wrong with your car, you need anything fixed, dings and bangs and things like that,
yeah.
You got to go see Cindy Dunning at Collision Surgeons, and they're also our sponsor of the Hit of the Week. So they're putting on this big, huge event, and we got NFL flag football during the day with these kids. It is going to be a day at the Civic Center. It's going to be a big Lions bash, back to school bash, cruise in, live music. I mean,
just
it's going to be a party.
Phenomenal
it's going to be a party.
Tailgating
Yeah.
kind of
I'm excited. There's a
yeah.
ton of tickets out. We got a group of 600 people coming from one company.
Wow.
For this game. We got a fundraiser for Harris County Youth Football. The list goes on and on. It's going to be one of those games that's going to go down in the Lions history books.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Lion Nation, we need your support out here. Of course, we're heading to Jacksonville. We'll take care of that. But then, Saturday, July 28th, it goes down in the jungle. We need you there like never before. Pack the Civic Center out. Sellout tickets is what we're talking about here in Lion Nation. And kids, children, this is a great opportunity for going back to school to say that your parents brought you to Lion Nation for the last game of the season, home game that is, and you received a great backpack to go back to school and brag about. I mean, Coach, you remember when we were little kids, being able to have that backpack or that fresh pair of J's
it's cool. It's a cool little backpack.
That is cool. That is pretty cool. Well, Lion Nation, hold your seats. Here's that part of this episode that everyone likes to hear about, those coveted superlatives of the game, our players of the game. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Collision Surgeons of Columbus, now at our new location at 5050 Warm Springs Road Connector. We've teamed up with JP Auto Care to create a one-stop shop for your collision and mechanical needs. Don't go into cardiac arrest. Come by Collision Surgeons at 5050 Warm Springs Road Connector.
I don't have to tell you, this town can get wicked when it puts its mind to it. Same goes for Popeyes. Last time we got wicked, you just ate it up. Well, honey, my $4 Wicked Good deal is back. You know why I fry my chicken into wickedly twisted shapes? Because it makes them wicked crunchy and perfect for dipping. The best part? It comes with a side and a biscuit for just $4. That's a wicked good deal. So I hope you're hungry, because Wicked Chicken is back.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Welcome back to Roar Time. This part of the episode is everyone's favorite. Next to our sponsor reads, next to our recaps of the game, this is the opportunity for us to give out attaboys and kudos to our players of the game. Coach, we'll start with the Air Force Reserve Defensive Player of the Game, Coach.
Number 14, Ohio State, Steve Miller had another great game. He's really turning it on and setting himself up to be one of the premier defensive ends in this league.
That's office. That's awesome.
That's office.
Supercharge! Who was that guy, Coach?
Number 15, Mason Espinoza, MVP candidate for the league. He had a as bad as we played, still, I mean, his bad games is other people's good games.
Yeah.
That's what's scary. But, you know, good job, Mason.
Good job, Mason.
I'm just still mad about the offensive performance, but he still had a good game, and it was definitely a supercharged performance.
Good deal, good deal. Then, Coach, we got the Midas player of the game. Who was that guy, Coach?
Reoccurring over and over again, Deron Neal. Deron had a great game. I should have went to him more. Sorry, Deron. That DB could not stop him.
No.
And I should have thrown 25 to 50 passes to Deron, and maybe we would have scored, 10 times.
Yeah.
But congratulations, Deron, for the Midas touch the player of the game.
Good deal. Then we've got the Collision Surgeons hit of the game.
Kyle Griswold, he laid a big old hit on the kid on the sideline. It was pretty good.
Wow.
So I think it was in the third quarter. You got to check it out on the replay on YouTube. But Kyle, number 9.
Yes, that's
wow,
right.
Kyle. Shaw High School grad.
There you go. Homeboy. Yeah. Duke University.
Duke University, yeah.
There you go. Sprague's Napa, Coach. Who was that guy?
Deron Neal.
Once
he made a great catch on our first, coming out of third quarter. We'd struggled. Finally, we said, just throw it deep. He was draped, covered, and he just made another phenomenal catch like he always does. And Deron Neal, number 5 out of Oklahoma.
That's all right. Well, Lion Nation, hats off to our superlatives and players of the game for this last game. Of course, it wasn't the outcome we looked for, but hey, we'll take it in stride and we'll keep on moving because Jacksonville, we're heading down to see you in Jacksonville, Florida. Sunny skies right there in that beautiful stadium of yours. Coach, any comments that you'd like to make before we get out of here?
No, it'll be a good trip. If you're not going, make sure you watch the game, support the Lions. We'll see you guys next Saturday for the last regular season home games, July 28th. And let's go out and get this win.
Let's do it. Roar, Lions, roar! Right here, CTV Beam, right here with those good guys at Toy Gar. Hey, man, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for all that you do. You're looking pretty young there these days, Toy Gar. Keep up the good looks, man. Good job. Lion Nation, we appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much for your continued support. Until we see you again and meet you again right here with this guy, head coach of operations. Head coach of operations. You'll take it.
I'm not a title guy.
There you go. You're not. Jason Gibson, Dr. Love in the Jungle. We'll see you again right here, Roar Time.